Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. Happy Monday. Thank you for joining me this morning. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So on Mondays, I come on, I do a Monday market update, kind of giving you some tips and information about the real estate market. So today is no different than that. Just getting situated here. So while you are joining in, today's topic today's topic that we're going to be talking about is building a rental property empire. And so I'm trying to share this out. I can't get this out. What's happening here? Um so oftentimes I talk to a lot of people who are interested in building a rental portfolio and just kind of not knowing where to begin or how to get started on that process. So I'm gonna share with you some information of how you can go about building that rental empire. So we look at other people and we kind of go off of what other people have going on from time to time and then kind of compare ourselves to them and just think like, you may know someone, they say they own 5 properties or 10 properties, and then you almost automatically assume like they just got in the game and they just had those 5 or 10 properties, right? In the beginning. And oftentimes it's just been a building process and they just never gave up. So there's really nothing different between them and you being able to do that. It's just they just kept going, they learned some strategies, and then from learning those strategies, they just worked on improving those strategies along the way. And so I'm going to share some of those tips with you. But before we get going with that, let's get started. All right, thank you for that, you guys. So my name is Andrea Wilson. I'm the broker and owner over at Brick House Realty, and I'm always sharing information on just the real estate industry located here in the Cleveland, Ohio market. And so today we're just talking about building that real estate empire and some tips and things that you can do. So I have some tips that I wrote here. So I'm sorry you'll see me glancing down in my notes. But the first thing you want to do is to build that foundation. People want to jump into it very quickly without building the foundation. As part of building that foundation is really the educational piece. It helps if you can afford to have a mentor, someone who's already doing it, or someone that can help guide you through the process to help you avoid any pitfalls that you may go through and kind of speed up the process for you. But really getting that education piece of it in deciding, do you want long-term holds, short-term home holds, or flipping the property? So really identifying where you're at in the entire process is really important. Good morning. Thank you for joining me. So understanding where you're at in the process and what's needed if you don't have cash, making sure that you start building up that cash with some cash building activities like your fix and flips. And then your short and long term properties, like your short term, are you going to hold those for a period of, 2 to 3 years, or are you going to do a longer term hold, 10 years or more? So the second thing that you want to do is start small, but get started. Once you have that solid foundation, you step out, get going, start small. Sometimes people just take on too much too fast because we all have this need or this desire to have all of this cash flow coming in, or be able to take those vacations we want to take. But you want to start off a little slower, just maybe with one, no more than 2 properties in the beginning, kind of work out the kinks in that process, and then start moving along as you go. But Starting small, it will help you identify where your weaknesses are at, where your strengths are at, and then you can move forward from there. The third thing you're going to want to do is save, save, save. The reason why, even if you get a lender, if you're going to a traditional lender, most of them are going to require a down payment, and that's anywhere or usually around 20% down is what they're going to be looking for. So a conventional loan, and if you're an investor, it's going to be 20% down. Even if you go hard money, a lot of the hard money lenders are going to require for you to bring some cash to the table. Obviously, if you have some cash in the bank, then you can just pay cash for that property. But saving some money for the purchase price of the property, and then as well for the renovation costs that are going to be in any unexpected. So, you didn't know about an inspection that was going to be needed, or something else arise. You don't want to fall short of cash there. The fourth thing that you want to do is build your team. So when you think about this real estate empire as you go along the way, from before you actually acquire the property to when you acquire the property, and then moving forward, and then as you start to continue to build your portfolio, there's going to be some relationships that you need along the way. So you're going to need that attorney, you're going to need a real estate agent, are we going to need an accountant? Of course, you're going to need contractors. Understanding title company and title fees. If you're talking to title companies, a lot of them offer like investor rates. As and buyers of property, you don't realize that you can pick, or at least request to pick, the title company. So even you as the buyer, you can call the title company and ask them what their fees are when you close out on a transaction, and ask them if they have investor friendly rates, because they understand that you may be closing on properties a little more often than that one off when that buyer purchased that home, and then they plan on living there 30 years, potentially, before they will ever see them again. So building that team of folks that you're going to want to work with along the way, and that list is forever growing. Your contractors, you think you may have the perfect crew contractors, but you always want to make sure you're adding folks to that list, because sometimes some of those contractors get busy, or they get out of the business or something. So you want to always have that backup plan. So we have build your team. So then next I have some is going to be learning those advanced strategies. So once you have a few deals underway, now you feel a little more comfortable. Now you can start adding on some advanced strategies to your real estate portfolio. So those advanced strategy will be maybe doing like a BRRRR method: buy, renovate, why can't I think and then repeat. But that process, that BRRRR strategy, what happens is you're buying a property low, you're putting work into it, and then you're pulling out the cash in that property to then take that out and now go buy another property. And then you're just repeating that process over and over again. So looking for those other strategies that can help you just along the way, finding someone else to maybe partner on deals with you, but looking for those other strategies. So now you know the basics of it. Now these are the things that have to be done to get you to that next level in some of those advanced strategies. Now you can layer those in instead of taking it all on at once. And then the last thing I have is keep up the momentum. So you want to take all of the lessons that you learned along the way from the beginning, get rid of all the bad stuff, keep the good stuff, and keep working on improving those processes. I'm looking for partnerships. Sometimes you want to go bigger, do those bigger deals. That's where your partnerships will come into play or could be helpful in that case. You want a 10-unit apartment building. Maybe you're not in a position to purchase that apartment building on your own, but if you brought in partners, 2, 3 folks into the equation, they can help you along the way and be able to get those goals a little sooner. So And you also want to think about looking at opportunities that are on market and off market. So you're on market, meaning on the MLS. It's becoming a little bit harder right now to find properties on the MLS, but also looking for opportunities off the market. And those off market opportunities might be things where properties offer owner financing opportunities, right? So the owner financing opportunity would look like, you would take over the property. Obviously you would write a contract, you would take over the property, and then you would pay back the owner. So the owner of that property or the seller of that property acts as if they're the bank, and you make monthly payments to that seller until it's paid off, and then the property would transition into your name. So that's definitely, a good strategy to use. I have a client that I recently spoke with to give you an idea of this, where they had bought a large commercial property, and the property, I'm just going to make up some numbers here just to get an understanding. But this just happened, not too long ago. But they found a property. The property was $300,000. The owner agreed to owner financing for half of it. So they did owner financing for half of it, and then they brought their own financing in for the other half of it. So they pay. So monthly, what that looks like, they pay, the loan back to the bank that they have on the one portion of it, and then they're paying the owner monthly for the other portion of it. The benefits of using owner financing is usually the money is cheaper. Sometimes there's no interest at all on that money. So you're straight just paying principal payments on that piece of it. And then other thing is, sometimes it's hard to go to the bank. Like the bank may not want to lend. So that property was, it was actually 3 properties, or commercial space was 300,000, we'll say. And sometimes the bank may not want to give you the full value of the 300,000. And if you don't have that cash to cover the shortfall, you would be out of luck. But where that owner financing comes in to take that place, and because the bank is only lending on half of it, the value is way more. So they are more willing to give that money. And so it's a win-win for all parties in there. So if you want to get into the rental property real estate game, there's so many ways you can get into this business. The newest, hottest thing out, I would say, are going to be your Airbnbs. Everyone wanted to do Airbnbs, and using, like Amazon to stock those units up with furniture and everything that goes into that. There's different models and different ways to getting into this business: residential, commercial, multifamily, single family. You really just have to sit down and identify what works for you. Now, you may not know what works for you because you haven't gotten into this before. So you may not realize, like, didn't like that so much. For some people, getting into the Airbnb sounds good because when people tell you how much money they're making from it, but then when they kind of dive into it and learn like all of the management and processes needed, it may be a little bit more than what you were looking for. And so you don't know what you don't know. So that's why even having a mentor. So if I could just kind of quickly summarize the things that I shared here, it would be that you can absolutely build a rental portfolio. It's going to take a little bit of patience, and that patience meaning like just start with one. Number one, get started. And then number two, at least just start with one, work out all of the kinks, and then multiply from there. Take what you learn from that one and move into the next one. Don't be so worried about having to catch up to other people who appear to be in the marketplace doing more than you or have this head start in front of you. They're not your competition at all. Everything happens in its own time and place and for good reason. And so if you're saying, I do want to own rental properties, great. Then just sit down, put a pen to paper, and really break that down of what owning rental property should look like for you. And then start learning, getting the education piece around that, start building your team around that, and then maybe put some dates to that as to when you want to complete certain tasks. When we don't put any dates or time frames around it, it just becomes, one of those things we would like to do. We talk about it all the time, but then it never happens. So if you're saying, nope, I'm serious, this is the year that I'm going to make this happen, then make it happen. I am happy to talk to any of you if you're thinking about investing in real estate, or even if you want to buy or sell a home. I'm looking for inventory. You can send me a DM. I do answer my DM. I think I might have a question. So you said, if I would like to invest from out of town, do you all, Brickhouse Realty, provide or have access to the team, i.e. contractor, project managers, property managers? Absolutely. We can help walk you through the process, have all of that. We'll find the potential opportunity for you. We share the photos with you. Some of our clients have never even been to Cleveland, Ohio, or speak English for that matter. But we will share the video and tools with you. We can manage the property for you and break down the numbers and your contractors and everything for you. So full service. The number that's scrolling at the bottom there, you can call or text that number. And I will get that message and I will respond to you if you want to talk about that in a little bit more detail. I can show you kind of like what that looks like a little better. But yes, please, we would love to help you. All right, guys. Thank you for joining. Oh, another question. How long after buying a home can you start investing into investment property? So you can start right away if you're saying that you're using your personal credit to do that. Because if you're getting an investment property, then you have to end up going conventional on there, especially if you use the FHA, but you end up having to go conventional. So what the lender is, if you're going conventional, the lender is going to look at is, can you afford that additional payment on there? So it may be hard to go the conventional route right away. That's why we kind of always try to recommend getting your investment property first, because then you can pull in that income that from the investment property as show as additional income, and then go purchase your single family. But you can use a hard money lender. So the hard money lender is your other way around that, where it's not traditional financing. The cool thing about a hard money lender is that they look at your credit score, but they don't look at your personal credit per se, right? So they're not necessarily concerned with everything that you have over there. They're just going to look at your score. And then when they do the loan, it won't show up on your personal credit. So they look at it, and then you actually have to purchase the property in a LLC or a business entity name, is what their requirement is. So if you don't have a business entity, a LLC, or anything set up, you would want to do that. But I think that hard money would be the best option for you. And as long as your score is good, and when I say good, they usually are okay with like a 620 credit score, those hard money lenders, but they'll lend you the money. You are going to need some money to put down, anywhere but around 20%. But and then you just go out, you find the property, and then they finance the property. They usually will send someone out to kind of do an inspection on there, but that's it. So hope that answered your question. But you can send me a text message. You have my number. So if you want to talk about that more, about what that getting you started with all of that. All right. You're welcome. All right. Well, you guys have a wonderful Monday, and I will be in touch soon. Talk to you later.